Welcome, everybody. You ever feel like your life is just too complicated? There's too much family drama going on. You don't know who you love sexually and who you're related to. Sometimes it's both.
Welcome to the attic.
It's VC's Peasies.
Welcome. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of VC's Pieces podcast. Today, delving into the final book in the Castile family series, Web of Dreams. That's Tia.
It's me, and that's Katie.
Hey, it's me. And we are ready to chit-chat about it. So if you could just let us know what this book is about.
Yeah, I would love. I'm reading the back flap, if you will.
I will.
Speaking of back flaps, mine's a little sweaty right now up here. Sweat.
That's not what I thought the back flap was.
I think it could. Yeah, your own interpretation. The royal back flap. Okay. With nowhere to go, no one to help her, Leigh fled into the arms of Luke Castile. Leigh Van Voorheen had to escape from Boston's Farthingale Manor. The foul secret she harbored within her seemed to darken her life forever. Gillian, her mother, would not believe her, and Tony Tatterton, her stepfather, had betrayed her most cruelly. But the pure devotion of Luke Castile promised her hope and respect. Only Luke knew her deepest of secrets. Only Luke would love and protect her. Bravely she bore the suspicions of the Willie's Hill folk as she tried to grasp the happiness that had so long eluded her. Leigh prayed with all her heart that her bright, shining dreams would save her from tragedy at last.
Suspicions?
Yeah, I don't...
Suspicions.
I mean, skipping ahead, yeah, because Annie Brandywine Castile was like, you don't seem to be
Y'all ain't like us.
made of hard stuff.
Only soft stuff. Now, I think I have the date of the year.
I think I have the year.
Mine might be off by 2 years.
Okay.
Because I don't do math good. I had 1948. Ah.
No.
Oh, no.
You don't even understand. Like, anytime someone drops a fact about
It's
something
squirreled
media.
away.
No, like media, I'll look it up. When is this from? And we got some bullshit discrepancies. Big time. What I want to throw out real quick, though, is this back flap, the royal back flap, talks about Luke Castile a whole shit ton. And before we get into it, you should know he doesn't show
Like
up
the
till
last 20 pages.
Yeah, it's not even. It's just okay.
That's getting so many hundreds of pages ahead of where we are, which is whatever year it might be.
1954 it starts.
Oh, you're right.
You know why? Because of the pajama game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we open, let me tell you, on a really flimsy excuse for a prequel. I found a diary.
Yeah.
So we open with adult Luke and Annie. Troy has passed away.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, of all the kind of gothic ups and downs, we ended on like such a nice time in that last book. Can we just get like a little nugget, a little larger chicken nugget of like, they've been really happy. Troy was a great part of their lives. Maybe they had some kids and they were very happy. Good times for them.
Yeah, we had that.
I want more.
I know. But it seemed like, he came to visit every once in a while, but was still his like withdrawn self.
Aloof self.
I'm gonna say I feel that in losing Troy, we have so far lost like the most pure human. I don't know. He's been my favorite.
I mean, he's here as a child.
Yeah, I mean, that
In
too.
the regular
Troy, I'm
timeline.
just saying, is probably my favorite character that we've encountered.
So they go there to Farthingale Manor, and I found a diary.
Yeah, Annie goes sneaking around.
She skulks around
Like
thousands
before-
of rooms.
Yeah, before the funeral, which apparently was 3 days later. If it, took me that long to read, was the actual service, and so she's poking around. She goes into Jillian's rooms, and like, that vanity drawer is a bit open. I'm drawn to it.
I mean, you don't need a pretext. No one lives. You can just open it up.
I know. It's
First
just
of all.
like, oh, it caught my eye like it was supposed to be here.
I would be rooting around at every goddamn drawer unashamedly.
Oh, yeah.
Who's gonna complain? Nobody.
The ghosts.
Nobody.
Right,
this is hers, right? This is hers.
Oh, yeah.
Tony's dead, Troy's dead, Heaven's dead. She is the next heir. Mm-hmm. That's her shit. She can look at what she wants to.
It's true. It's true.
Sorry, I don't really... Anyway, so then it's like, that's like the preamble. Preamble?
It was like, Lee's diary.
Yeah.
That's what it was embossed in the supple leather. It was like in a cloth bag, like in the back. Like, how deep was this drawer? Like,
how deep is your drawer?
Deep is your drawer.
So we learned that our gal Jillian's done been manipulative from the start, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. I, much like Troy has been my favorite character, I fucking hate Gillian Van Voreen Tatterton so much. She is my least favorite character that we have encountered so far in 10 books of reading about a lot of shitty characters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it opens like that Leigh got this diary on her 12th birthday, which was 1954. So she was born in 1942, and that fucks up all of this shit.
Wow, I was really wrong.
No. It's okay.
I'm going to delete that. I'm not going to have that in my notes.
Oh, no. How did you get...
You know, let's not ask any questions.
I want to know. How did you get 48?
I'm not going to backwards math in front of our listener. Because Heaven was born in 1950. She had Heaven when she was 14, so I minus 14 from 50, and then added 12 for some reason.
52. But yeah, so...
I see, now you've embarrassed me. Now you've embarrassed me.
You've embarrassed yourself. So Leigh was supposed to be born in 36, though. That's just some bullshit. It's some bullshit.
It's bullshit of all bullshits. Basically, so now that she's a... Oh, okay, yeah. So her Cleve Van Voreen.
Who seems so nice.
He's an old seafaring man.
He's a boat liner man.
He's a boat liner man. There is talk about the boat ocean liner business kind of being subsumed into the airline business. No one takes pleasure cruises anymore. Not after that Titanic went down.
Ooh, and you could have gourmet chef famous meals on an aeroplane.
Yeah, at one point Lee's like, I knew my girlfriends had been talking about airplane flying. Whoa. So she gets that from dear old Daddy Cleve, and Jillian's like, I have a secret gift for you later. And it's a brassiere. I got a secret gift. And she's like, oh, a brassiere. And Jillian has a little lady talk with her, and she's like, all right, it's expected that you not be a whore, but men can be whores, so deal with it.
Oh my god, I know.
Yeah, she's basically like, you need to be manipulative to get your own way.
Yeah, like, don't... Oh, a really good quote around this time of Jillian's here. A woman should sound a little insecure, no matter how sure of herself she might be.
So there's a lot of that, and we also get this little nugget of she's like, tell me again how you and Daddy met, and it's this very starry-eyed, I was poor in Texas, and Daddy married me.
Very Cinderella. She's like, my mom was horrible. My sisters
were horrible.
My sisters were horrible because they were like ugly and dumpy, and so they made me dress in rags and do the stuff, but
that information will probably come back at some point.
Maybe it will. Yeah, so apparently Cleve was there to court one of her sisters, says
and she
Jillian.
was just so, like, beautiful.
And then he was like, oh my god, you and your shitty clothes are really doing
They tried to
my
put her in
tingles.
rags.
Yeah.
To, like, hide her beauty. So they go out to dinner, and Jillian is, like, not a fan of her husband, apparently.
No.
She's like, I want to go places, and he never wants to go places. And Lee's like, well, we go to all of these places. And she's like, yeah, it's for work.
She's like, I barely get to
socialize. I don't know. I know, she's shit sacks. She is a shit sack of shit. So she's always wanted to, like, go this place and that place. And on the birthday dinner, Daddy Cleve is like, well, we're expanding, and Jillian, you always said you wanted to go to Jamaica. We're expanding to that area, and we're gonna go to Jamaica. And Jillian is like super shifty about it. She's like, what? Oh, why didn't you tell me to expect this? He's like, you say all the time.
Yeah.
The Tattertons are bubbling under the surface.
Yeah, like the day after her birthday, Jillian is working on the mural that we
mural
exists, the fairy tale mural situation. And, I don't buy her being like an artist because I feel like it would be too much work for her. She would get dirty. Like, I don't know. I just don't see her doing anything to contribute to anything.
She obviously did.
Anyways, it just seems like hours of work is not her vibe.
It's really out of character for her to have a skill.
Sure is. And to want to do the skill. Maybe have a skill, but, can't be fucked with it. So, yeah, she takes Leigh to
come see the mural.
Yeah, let's go to the mural and look at Father. And Leigh notes when she meets Tony that he has sensual lips.
I mean, fine. On the little into the window on the cover,
yeah.
The front flaps. I feel like that is the most accurate picture that I made in my mind.
Me too. Yeah, for sure.
So he is young. He young Tony looks like an infant. And so fine, good. That's all. So I'll buy that. I will buy maybe if we're in the VC universe where a child can be in a relationship with someone who's an adult. So maybe there could be a little oh, okay.
I guess when you're 12, you're getting to be ooh, handsome boys.
Crushy town.
I don't think I had the thought of sensual lips when I had a crush on anyone when I was 12.
Who knows what sensual means?
I don't know if I ever have since in my life. Been
Maybe
wow.
you just haven't met the right pair of lips. So Jillian's 100 a gold digger. She cannot stop talking about all the money Tony has and everything at Fartingale Manor. She cannot stop. And she's like, this tour goes on all day.
All day.
For some fucking reason. There's a little...
we know.
Well, there's a little Baby Troy bird.
Yeah, who they say he was 4, but he was 2. In the other books, it was he was born when Tony was 18. And Tony and Jillian got married when Tony was 20. And Jillian was 40 pretending to be 30. And then there's this shit where Tony tells Leigh that he's 23. Why can't
oh my god, I'm so scared.
It drives me crazy. I'm why are you gaslighting us about ages and dates all the time? Is it not supposed to matter?
It's not supposed to matter.
It cannot matter to me. The math doesn't work out.
This isn't about facts. It's about feelings. It's about evocative.
Then don't put specific ages in there if it's not going to matter. I just read these other books.
It's not like it's been a couple years.
Yeah, come on. And also, Jillian had told Tony that she was 28, not 30. And we never know actually what Jillian's age is in this book. It's never mentioned.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
That is very interesting for a prequel, presuming that we, the reader, know everything.
But if she was 40 based on the last book, that means she didn't even have Leigh until she was 28. And that doesn't match at all either
track.
With... Yeah, that doesn't track at all with, I was still living with my parents. No, I think that it was supposed to be she was 18 or something. I don't know. It doesn't make sense, and it drives me crazy. I'm going to lose my GD mind, I swear.
So, she ominously enters the hedge maze. And it was the hedges blocked the sun. Oh, evil hedge maze.
In this book, it says that the hedges are 12 feet tall.
Definitely too big for a horse to jump over.
Yeah, horse maze confuse. But in one of the other books, it was the highest hedges were about 8 feet. So I don't fucking stop trying to gaslight me.
You have such
numbers.
a detail-oriented mind. I'm just skimming.
The numbers stick out to me because I'm like, ooh, fact. But it's not a fact.
She gets an inappropriate fucking gift. I don't know why he was like, oh, I just met you. Here's like a golden necklace.
It's a boat line of a boat liner.
Because the Van Voorheen line.
I know, but like, who's making boat liner charms?
Can I get a cruise ship necklace?
Yeah, who? If you or anyone you know has a cruise ship necklace, please email us a picture at vcspeciespodcast@gmail.com.
They have lunch, and Leigh notes that there's so many deliciousness, especially fruit in a fancy fruit shape.
Yep.
What the fuck is a fancy fruit shape?
I don't know.
Like someone made like a Jello jiggler.
They use like pinking shears to cut a strawberry.
Heart attack in the maze.
Yeah, that's dark.
Have we heard any other to contradict this? Is this the only information we have about the Tatterton parents dying?
I
so?
feel like when I read that, I was like, it seemed familiar that like happened, or at least I'm pretty sure that Tony had mentioned before that like Troy was with their dad when he
and
died.
that gave him clinical depression
Forever. But also, how did the mom die? Oh, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's Troy's origin story. Little baby.
Little sweet babby.
I was just kind of like, for some reason, like I was very flummoxed by the way Tony talked. He's like he's fucking Katharine Hepburn. Welcome to the thing where they do the thing. And the most lovely lusciousness of the sun. What? I know. What? Yeah. Now you're picturing Katharine Hepburn and a Tony mishmash.
I'm just picturing like the deep side part on him. The hair. I'm just picturing the hair on Tony.
We spent all day at Farty.
Yeah, and it's clear that the affair is like already happening because they're like up. Like,
they're always having little side wisps,
whispery, frantically armed thoughts.
Frantically armed,
because there's like. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, frantically armed. Okay. On the way home. I don't know. This is, I think, we have a little chat about Jillian's disordered eating. To always leave the table a little hungry.
I have that. Yeah, I always leave the dinner table a little hungry. And she's talking about like, oh, you should live in this society. Leigh.
You need to be like a debutante. What are you gonna do? You need to meet the rich people. What are you gonna do?
And Leigh was like, I kind of want to be a teacher,
which
is like cute because heaven that ended up being.
Yeah.
I know, just doing it. And Jillian has like a wonderful insight about teachers, which is who becomes school teachers: spinsters, women who look like my sisters, or dumpy women with poor complexions.
Yep.
On behalf of teachers everywhere, no, I would like to apologize on behalf of this fictional character to teachers everywhere. That is a fucked up, stupidest thing I ever read. That's not true. There's been so many.
Yeah. Then there's the going to Jamaica boat party. Mm-hmm. Fucking love a food spread. There's quite a bit about the food, which I was into.
Yeah, me too. I read it slow.
Then fast. So Jillian sucks so many asses.
Oh my god, yeah.
She sucks so many asses about like why everything's not like Cleve is obviously trying to like give her this like you want to be a society, like, we're doing a society lady thing, but she's not having fun.
She's like flipping out about like the dumb things about like invitations and stuff, and like he wants to take one boat out and she's like, no, you have to do the bigger boat because it's got a bigger ballroom and like blah 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 blah. And they hire some actors from The Pajama Game, which was a play in 1954 that I looked up. So just to like do a couple of numbers.
Did it come out? Did it come out then?
Yes, it did.
Okay,
I looked it up.
It's not like okay.
No, like it was not from before then.
Wow, that fucks up that whole heavens.
I know because 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 we're so far into the future with like where Annie would be like it. Like okay, it's just. It would have been like mid to late 90s, like when Heaven died, if we're going back to this timeline.
So
It's really upsetting to me.
Lee's father is a bit like Olivia's father. Prequel to the sequel. It was like, let's learn it's not common for a young woman to learn the family business, but let's go look at some motors. And she's like, awesome.
Yeah, she's into it.
Jillian sucks asses.
She's like, oh my god, it's gross. What will people say?
Tony rolls up to the party. He was invited. Mm-hmm. And they are 100 eye humping.
Oh yeah, they completely not
Conspicuously.
Yes.
Non-inconspicuously.
Completely not inconspicuously. They're just like
inspectuously.
Like just like dancing really close and
I think that I wrote this quote down because it was such a clumsy metaphor. I moved like a girl who had been crippled all her life.
yeah.
Is it?
Are we supposed to go like, oh, like your granddaughter's gonna be for a hot minute later with Tony?
No, I don't know. What? So if you had been, you wouldn't be moved. What? It was so. It felt very confusing in a world of confusing metaphors and timelines. This,
Yeah, because Tony insisted that he and Heaven do a little dancey.
Leigh.
Yes, I keep writing Heaven on this one.
Oh.
Yeah, by accident.
So, creeper from the start as well.
Oh yeah, just like always having lingering looks.
Can you just look like a normal person?
No, apparently not. It's ogles or it's nothing.
So, when the party ends, there's a point in the cruise, and they go off on the cruise, and Jillian's talking to Leigh, and she's like, your father works too much, and he never sees us, and he's so old and tired, and it's like, girl, he's tired because you want him to work. Mm-hmm. Like, so yeah, she's like, all he does is work, and Leigh's like, well, he wants to make money for you, and she was like, well, he's tired. It's like, pick one.
Yeah. I mean, I hate Jillian.
It's obvious for us, the reader, because we know we're just trying to get to the next plot point.
Yeah, which is also why I wanted to mention about Luke at the beginning here, that it's not until the end, because I don't want you to be like me, just being like, let's get to the page where
Luke shows up.
Yeah. The backs are misleading.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Cleve's tired. Cleve's so tired from dealing with fucking Jillian.
Yeah, seriously. But also she, like, doesn't want him around when he is around. I don't know. Like, there's just... It's not the right kind of... Oh, there for her.
Jillian just unloads upon Leigh about how Cleves is a lazy man who works too hard.
Yeah.
She's looking for, like, any reason to, like, run to those Tapered Tatterton fingers.
Ugh, the tips. Tapered Tatterton.
She kind of blows up. This is a picture I took of a quote, because it's another problematic quote. I don't know if you noted it. And she's like, blah, 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 I'm not fancy enough. And Cleve was like, you're the owner's wife. Like, I don't know what you want. And he's like, you can do whatever you want to do. You're not hanging out with anyone. She's laying in bed. She's just like sick. She's so ill. She can't go in the sun because of her skin. She can't be in the salt air because of her skin. She needs to sleep 72 hours a day to be young. And, quote Cleve, what do you choose to do? You complain about the sea and living on board a liner as if you were some Negro slave being brought over from Africa and chained below. Woofity, woofity, honk. If you were taking a sip for every unnecessary racial interjection, you just did.
Have the ambulance on speed dial. Yeah, such unnecessary phrases. But I will note, this was the first book that they didn't mention somebody standing still as them being like, still as a cigar store Indian. They used that so many times throughout the Castile series. They just said,
I didn't even notice.
Oh my god, so many times. Like, it was so many times that I noticed that they didn't use it in this book once.
Have we been reading the same book?
Yeah.
I didn't notice once.
So many times they're just like, oh, and they stood there like a cigar store Indian.
It seems as though I'm a skimmer. I'm not like a skimmer. I'm just like going for the feelings and the rawness, and you are like a little factotor. Jillian will not get the fuck out of bed, and
She totally lies about being seasick.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
a mystery illness of bullshit.
she has she says she's trying to. So Lee's like, come on, let's do a thing, and she's like, I have to close my eyes and imagine I'm not here now. My ethos as of late.
Yeah. I mean, and that's fine, but not for this bitch. She literally doesn't have to do anything. And she's mad about it.
So yeah.
But then she's mad when she has to do it. I hate her. So they're going to a port in Jamaica. And all of a sudden, like, fucking Jillian's just got her bags and shit. And Lee's like, what's happening? You said we were going to go shop and, like, have to...
We're in the
What is
port.
going on? And she was like...
She does indeed traipse off to those Tapered Tatterton tippets.
Yeah, she's like, I have to fly back home.
For reasons.
She's like, but we're docked now.
We're
like,
doing the thing
she's
we
like,
wanted to do.
But then I have to get back on the boat. Like, you would... Don't be selfish, Lee. Like, how can you expect me to be on a boat? Like, all of a sudden, like...
All of a sudden, boats are a problem.
Oh, my God. So, yeah. Like, it's clearly that she was making, like, secret travel plans to go see Tony.
Tapered Tatterton travel tans.
And so Lee's like, okay, cool. So she, like, has a couple boat friends, whatever. And she really wants to spend some time with her dad to be like, what the fuck's going on with Mom? And they have a dinner, but he, like, brings the captain or something. And so they
No,
do
I think
get to talk.
doesn't he tell her there about the schmivorce? Spoiler.
No, that's, like, right before they dock. Like, the morning that they're gonna dock. Like, so all the way back. Like, she doesn't get to talk to him a lot. And then all
Well, I wrote a couple bits that are chronologically before then. Where he's talking to Lee, and it's this has more than one backhanded compliment. He goes, "I think you're a lot brighter than your mother or I think." Thanks. He also, I'm pretty sure that he tells her about the divorce
No, because
he's like, "All right, don't have emotions about it. You fucking be fucking cool."
No, because he's like, you gotta pull yourself together and say bye to these people. Like, it's the last morning that they're on the ship, I promise.
All right.
Because he was like, I had put this off for as long as I possibly could, but a couple days after your mom left, I got a telegram saying that she flew to Mexico to get a divorce. Was that a thing? Like,
I don't know.
like, is it like in the 50s? Like, apparently you could fly to a completely different country than when you
Yeah.
got married to get a divorce from that.
Sure sounds like it. She do have a couple of buddies on the ship, but she really wants to like spend time with her dad because she's like, I'm just going to use this opportunity. And interestingly enough, maybe he gets a little taste of what Jillian doesn't like, and that he is always busy, and he doesn't make time for her because they were going to have like a nice dinner together. And then he like invited a couple other people, and she was like, "Oh, okay. I really wanted to like talk, but no, this is fucking cool too, I guess." There's a couple of there's a set of sisters, and then a couple of high school boys.
Yeah, which...
And then what was interesting is what these high school boys said to the 12-year-old, which is, "You could pass for a senior." Yeah. Yep.
It's important.
There's a lot of mentions about like Leah's like feeling her oats and like feeling her beauty, and many mentions that I found interesting about her saying that she's evenly tanned, like more than once, and I was like, okay, that's just very weird to me. Like, you don't want like a spot.
Yeah,
It was just weird to me.
I think you're just
felt the
supposed to
need
like
note
have
it.
like an image of like
She's
a
very
beautifully
golden.
sun-kissed young lady,
Delicious.
or similar. So Lee gets back to the, like, first of all, Jillian's not even waiting for her.
I know.
And she's like really upset. She goes home.
That's upsetting.
Yeah, dude. She goes home and she's like,
Hello.
"Hey, servant man,
Servants.
Clint." I don't remember his name.
Clint Ace.
Something like that. Clint Ace. Where's my mom?
Where's
And
Ma?
like, oh, she like went out.
She went out.
Went
Just
for a
went the
walk or
fuck out.
something. And she was like, okay, look, she said when she was going to be back, right? And they're like, no. And then she was like, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then she like goes to her room and like has such a sad, because she's like, oh my God, my parents are getting divorced. This is the end of my world. And you know, back then, like, people did not get divorced. So like that was a big deal. And So she's just like, and then she gets impatient. She's like, I'm gonna go fucking go in my mom's room.
Look at all of our shit.
And she's still not back yet. And then she, like, notices, like, what is this?
There's, like, a bunch of stuff.
She's like, what is this sample book? Like, we don't have any
Nothing needs to be
parties
sampled.
coming up. Clearly, there's not going to be an anniversary party anymore. It's all wedding invitations. And she's just like, I don't get it still, which is kind of cute, but not. And then
Jillian comes traipsing in.
God.
Fucking traipsing. And she was like, oh my God, you should go to the beach more.
Jillian is worse Corinne.
Oh.
The worst.
Okay.
And she's like, Mom, I wanted you to be there. And she's like, oh my God.
She was like, could you imagine if I was there?
She's like, I would have maybe had to wait in the car for like a half an hour. Ugh.
Why would you want that for me?
Yeah, why would you? Oh. And
why would you want me to
she just
wait?
being like, today is beautiful. Blah, 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 blah. And then Lee's just like, Mom, Dad told me about the divorce. And then she was like, oh.
I told him not to tell you. He probably told you wrong.
Yeah, and she was like, no. He's like, she probably said all this shit. And she's like, no, he was like, he's just sad. She's like, oh, my daddy's sad.
Yeah.
And she's super inappropriate with Lee after that.
She was
She's
like,
let's be BFFs actually now.
I knew all the other, I couldn't handle the boat. Like, there were business and money problems, and they really kept my mind off the money problems and the marital problems. And there was just so many problems. And it's like, boundaries. She's also like, I knew the other passengers always pitied me. And it's like really like off the deep end kind of stuff. And she got so mad about it that she like ugged up. And yet again, she ugged up. And then she's like, you need to be my best friend now. Fucking
yeah, like
boundaries.
Legit is just like, can't we just be more like girlfriends? Like,
this is not crossing a boundary at all. Be my friends. Cleve, she says, is old enough to be her father. Interesting fact nugget. Sure.
What does that mean? Does that mean that she's 40 and he's 52? Does that mean he's 70? Like, we don't know.
We don't know. She does confide, Jillian confides that Tony gives her the tingles.
And then Lee's like, oh, of course it's that. Like, now I put all the pieces together, and I'm like,
they were already, they were the fuck together.
Thanks for getting there with us, Lee.
So they are going to go have Thanksgiving at Fartingale, and Jillian wears like a spaghetti strap dress to this cold Boston Thanksgiving.
I'm sure it's warm in the manor.
I'm sure it's not warm in the manor. Those don't hold heat well. Bitch is going to be cold. It's cold in the north.
But she needs to like look like the most blah blah blah. They mentioned that on the table is a chopped liver swan.
Yes,
What the fuck is a chopped liver swan?
First of all, is chopped liver like a pate, like a cat food pate? Maybe. And then you're going to shape it into a swan and it's not...
How do you neck it?
Is there a coat hanger in there?
I don't...
Is this for your abortions? If there was a coat hanger. Okay. Anyway.
If anyone has ever had a chopped liver swan and knows what it is, please call the number on your screen. 746.
Someone I wrote down gives her another backhanded compliment. I think Jillian says, "Oh, you're so pretty when you smile."
Yep. I wrote that.
And then I wrote chopped liver swan.
Yeah, what
Barf
the
emoji.
hell is that? Yeah, don't look so sad. You look so pretty when you smile.
That's, if you don't know what a backhanded compliment is, it sounds like you're being nice, but what you're really saying is you're ugly most of the time.
Yeah. Ugh. Your feelings bum me out. So.
Yeah. Male dinner guests look upon this 12-year-old with approving eyes.
Yeah, don't need to know that. Don't need to know that.
Tony strokes Lee with his burning eyes.
Everything's always lingering.
So, wedding planning Jillian is a new level of suckitude.
Oh, she sucks.
She is like, she's changing things on the way to the rehearsal.
Yeah.
And it's like, disinvite this person, invite that person. That's like the day before. What?
Yeah, how? You're not texting anyone.
You're gonna, that's a carrier pigeon town.
They Pony Express them. It is Boston.
It is Boston.
They resurrected Paul Revere.
Yeah. He brought your invitation.
And Lee's like, ugh, I'm uncomfortable and stuff. And Jillian tells her, like, you just worry about looking good in your dress. Like, stop having feelings. Just make sure that you look good.
Tony is almost touching Lee's hair in her suite of rooms. So he really been a creeper from the start.
Seriously. I hate it.
So she like, yeah, there's a part where, because he's showing her the suite of rooms, and she can like feel him like on her, and she wheels around and then says, I could feel his breath on my forehead. Like, that's pretty fucking close.
That is very close.
I mean, we're close enough right now that if I spun around, I might hit you, but I can't feel your breasticles. Stop.
Can you feel it?
Can you feel? Stop.
Yeah, like I turned around and like was looking into his Adam's apple while he breathed hot breath on my forehead.
So, warning flag number 7.
18,000. After the wedding rehearsal.
But she does feel those pleasing Tatterton tingles.
But again, like I'm just like, she's 12. She's
right,
12,
it's burgeoning.
Yeah.
It's burgeoning sexuality.
Meanwhile, also, like, Lee's just pissed that she has to live at Farthing. She wants to be with her daddy. But he's like fucking floating around anyways. He doesn't have
He's not ugly, but he is old.
And, but, like, the nice thing is that her and Troy become, like, BFFs. Yeah. Like, apparently he's very precocious. He's a great artist. He's very thoughtful.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
And,
so, she said questionably sassy.
When they rolled up to because this is a Christmas Eve wedding, apparently.
It's a Christmas wedding. Yeah. It is.
Which you don't even know it's Christmas Eve until like
the next
Christmas.
day.
Yeah.
Until the next day when it's like, oh, it's Christmas.
Well, because it was really weird too. Because they were like 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, we were at the rehearsal dinner, and then the next day was Christmas. So I don't understand.
Can I get this calendar?
Oh, no, that makes sense. So when she rolled up, like Troy was outside making a snow. He was building a snowman. And like, hey, we got to do this rehearsal shit. But we can totally go work on that snowman afterwards, my dude. And he's like, sick. And so like after the rehearsal, they're out working on the snowman. And then Troy's like, oh, we need some branches for his clothes. And she's like, what are you talking about, kid? And he's like, there's some clippings in the hedge maze.
He's very pushy. This is a very pushy child.
Do you remember 4-year-old children?
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
They are pushy. But he's just got, like, he needed to, like, burst out his creativity. He's like, I gotta get clothes on this snowman, stat. Gotta go find these hedge trimmings that Boris left in the, in the hedge maze here.
Yeah. And then, so Lee's like, you know what, I'll just follow our footprints back. It's fine. And they go deeper into the maze. And here's a cottage.
Yeah, Troy's like, this is sick. I need to show you my special place, which is like, we're like, oh, you know, always has to be a special place.
Yeah.
He makes a fire, and
which 4-year-olds can do.
Yeah, and then Lee realizes like, oh shit, it's fucking blizzard out there. We gotta book it, and so they just leave the burning fire. Apparently,
yeah, they burn down the cottage fully. I guess.
Tony got the money. The Tattertons have cash.
You think they got insurance?
Yeah, I don't know.
Has insurance been invented yet?
Probably, yeah. I think so.
But it was, in fact, snowing so hard that they could not find their way back because the footprints were covered.
So they're freezing and wandering around for like an undisclosed amount of time. I believe it is dark.
It is undisclosed.
Yeah. And then they hear...
Much like in many VC areas, who knows how long or minutes or hours have gone past?
No.
Days? Weeks? We don't know.
Don't know. It's either like completely specific and wrong or...
Nothing.
Foggy as heck. So they get out of the maze and they go inside. It's like it's Tony and like a couple of the servants. I think I can't remember what the guy's name was.
Curtis,
yeah.
Young Curtis
and Boris. And they get back into the house and Jillian is just like fuming. She's not like, oh my god, you guys are right. She's like, how fucking dare you embarrass me? You did this on purpose.
I still had guests here, and now you do this.
Ugh. And Tony's like, okay, yeah, like, can we save this for later? Like, she's freezing. She needs to take a bath. And then Jillian's like, I can't believe you're so embarrassing.
It's like a few rounds.
Yeah, of like Tony being like, save it for later, Jillian. She's freezing. Like, and she won't let Heaven, like, dang it. She won't let Lee explain, like,
anything.
There was a plan, and like, because she's like, how do I even give in to this child? And my wedding anniversary. I mean, rehearsary.
Who cares? It's my rehearsary.
So Tony drags Lee upstairs and is just like,
here, take back.
Hey, oh, your fingers are frozen? Let me help you unbutton your blouse.
Your blouse. Lee's cold breath was warmed by his. Which, I mean, I guess he was just like, huffing on her.
Yeah, disgusting. I don't know.
I didn't see how he could be so blind to my embarrassment, which, like, he ain't blind. Like, he's using that embarrassment to make you question yourself and your instincts.
Ugh. So she's in the tub and she hears someone at the door and she's like, oh, cool, mom's up here to yell at me again. Nope, it's Tony just being like, hey, how's it going in there? I'm an expert backwasher. And she's like, ugh, can you just not?
Here's a little snippet of the bath times. So she's like apologizing again, and then it's all right, really, he said, kneeling beside the tub. Water still warm enough? He put his fingers into it, only inches from my thigh. Yes, that's okay. Well, will you be all right now? Yes, I said quickly. I folded my arms over my breasts. Take your time. You're not embarrassed, are you? We're family now. He fingered the water near her thigh.
Ew, Katie, we talked about this.
We very specifically talked about this. Jillian eventually comes in and is like, will it make you feel better for me to talk to you about my honeymoon?
Yeah, so like set on just being like, we're like, you need to be my BFF. I need you to be more than a daughter, but like also just not a daughter at all, just like some bitch.
So she's going on and on about their life at Farthie, and Lee's like, wait, you guys aren't gonna share a room? And she's like, God, no, that sounds annoying. Basically, Jillian doesn't want Tony to like see the clamps on the back of her head that pull her skin back. She does that every morning.
It's true.
Yeah, and she's like, don't blame the house. Someone says to her, like, I hope you don't blame the house. What does that even mean?
I don't know, because they like to have...
It's anthropomorphicized.
Yeah, I think that's what they like to do. They did that definitely with Foxworth Hall as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's, again, it's heavy-handed. You're like, I don't get this vibe. Why do you keep saying it?
Why do you
keep saying
right.
the words?
Maybe I would have bought it for Foxworth Hall, but not for Farthie.
So, Grandma Jana shows up.
Oh, I didn't even... yeah.
Grandma Jana shows up.
That, broad.
And she's just kind of like, well, this is bullshit. I don't know why you left your husband. Like,
this is the bullshit of all bullshit.
This is kind of shit. Like, you think Leigh just is supposed to, like, deal with your nonsense? Like, come on, Jillian. And we, like, Lee's kind of like, maybe Mom really isn't telling the truth about how Grandma treated her, because she kind of seems like she knows what's up. And so then, like, they're in Cleve's office. Cleve is still on the water.
Yeah, they're going to, like, pack their final things.
And Grandma Jana and Jillian are talking, and then she's like, what is this bullshit? Like, you already, like, got in trouble when you were younger. Like, does that man still think that he's Lee's father?
She was pregnant.
Yep. So apparently she was like a young 28-year-old pregnant woman. I don't know. And then they got instantly married. Oh, I think they had this conversation actually at Farthie before the wedding.
Yes.
Because I definitely noticed that the whole theme of these books, almost every single one except for the first one, girls go to Farthie to find out that their dad isn't really their dad.
Aww. Whoa.
Yeah. It's where Heaven found out that Luke wasn't her dad. That's where Annie found out that Logan wasn't her dad. This is where Leigh finds out that Cleve isn't her dad.
And at first she's like, what happened to that baby? Did Mom have an abortion? How the fuck do you know what an abortion is?
I don't know.
Come on, this is 1812.
Yeah.
As far as we know.
It's 3022.
Exactly. Anyway.
Wedding is luxe as fuck.
Yeah.
Luxe.
I said, wow, Jillian on honeymoon during Leigh's first divorced family Christmas.
Yep.
Where is Cleve?
Cool. I don't know.
I guess he was like, I'm going to peace out.
He was on a thing. He was doing businessy things.
Still though, he could have been.
I think he was doing another like Jamaica. He was on the wet road. Like at the wedding, like Leigh's trying to get dressed, and she goes out to like see her mom because she couldn't like zip up the back, and Tony's like, oh, zip up your dress.
Linger fingers.
It's gross. Yeah, tiny tuxedo Troy has a little pinky ring, which is precious.
Is it?
And they note that the homeliest bridesmaid, Nancy, was the one who caught the bouquet. Why? Ugh. And then Troy's like, hey, Leigh, like, let's go check out all these presents. Aren't they awesome? And then she's like, yeah, cool. You excited to, like, have a mom? And he's like, your mom hates me. She tells Leigh that she has growls in her eyes, which I was like, that is an astute
observation.
That is a feeling. Yeah, and then they just piss off on their honeymoon, missing Christmas and New Year's. Like, they didn't explain this to Leigh that they were leaving, like, the next morning.
Yeah.
Or, like, right after the wedding, really.
I gotta go back.
Yeah, which is insane.
Troy is a 4-year-old toy maker. That's a bit much, huh?
No.
That's a bit fucking much.
I have known some pretty artistically talented Jungans. I feel like, you know, it's clear that he's some sort of prodigy. Yep. Prodigy, because, you know, it says later that he graduated Harvard when he was like 16 or something. But while they're gone, Leigh's just like, I don't know why they had to say this.
Yep.
Leigh's like going into Tony's library.
Yep. I found it too.
Yep. And she mentions that her favorite book is
Lolita.
Written in 1955.
Oh no. It was we're so different. Because you were like, oh woof, that has a concrete date. And I rolled my eyes, and that's like, oh, they specifically mentioned.
Oh no, I did that first, and then I checked the date too to be like, where are we?
Oh,
is this one written in 1974?
Specifically mentioned that she finds it.
I don't like that, because I feel like that sort of like gives us. It's supposed to make us be like, oh, well, she was kind of like predisposed.
So Troy goes in the hospital.
Yeah, he wakes up with pneumonia on New Year's Day.
Happy New Year.
Yep, and but that's also the day that Jillian and Tony are coming back. Like, apparently, also that wasn't something that. Like, yeah, just like Leigh never knows like when they're expected, and so yeah, Jillian just comes in like, oh, and Leigh's like, oh my god, like, did you go to the hospital? And she's like, oh my god, no. I am wondering, like, are we sure that Jillian isn't Fanny's mother instead? Because I feel like she's just rich Fanny, as far as just being completely self-absorbed.
Oh, yeah.
But with no redemptive arc whatsoever.
Yeah, she did not have a redemptive arc.
No. She was like, of course I didn't go to the hospital to see Troy. Now I need to nap for 3 days because I'm exhausted from doing nothing.
Yeah, that comes around quite a bit, is
constantly
her, like, rest from travel. I drove 20 minutes to the fucking Costco. I need a rest.
She would not go to a Costco.
I was just an exaggerated example for comedy purposes.
Thank you.
So Troy's in the hospital.
Leigh pieces out and goes on her own because Jillian's just taking a fucking nap.
And Tony says, well, you know what, let's go to a fancy Italian dinner. Mm-hmm. Have some wine.
Yeah, it was interesting. And he tells her about their honeymoon and how, like, Jillian didn't want to do anything. Like, he specifically took her to a skiing place because she complained that she never had time for skiing. And as soon as they got there, she was just like, ew, this winter air is going to ruin my hair and skin. I need to stay inside.
And shop.
And, like, she did fuck all. And, like, he actually kind of notes that she did do fuck all.
Huh?
Like, he was just like, she didn't want to do anything in more ways than one.
Sex.
Yep.
Yep.
And then when Leigh gets back, Jillian is just like, Tony's too virile.
Yeah, it depletes her.
She's like, you gotta keep
It sounds like he's 20 years younger than you, ma'am.
Yeah, or mystery amount of time. Yeah, she's like begging Leigh to keep him occupied. You have to, on the weekends, like all the time.
She's Tony's babysitter.
So that he doesn't steal my youth with his penis. She, like, completely inappropriately talks to Leigh about Tony's sexing. She says, he makes love like it's going to be the last time, practically raping me, she explained. The blood rushed into my face to hear her make reference to something so intimate. That is not the right adjective for that. What? Oh, that's such an intimate detail. No! I would be like, I almost threw up because my mom is fucking ridiculous and gross, and I can't believe she said something like that.
I can't believe she's subtextually whoring out her child to be her stand-in.
Yeah.
To be her stand-in.
You have to keep him busy because...
She just wants to be a socialite and spend money and be a society lady. She's Tony's babysitter. Mildred Pierce. Is that a fucking movie?
It is. It's a Joan Crawford movie.
So Cleve mentions in his letter a lady named Mildred Pierce.
Yeah, who is great fun to be around.
Yeah.
She's good company. And Lee's like, oh, who is this? Some other person's daughter? Is he hanging out with as a kid?
That's a very innocent read on that.
You are so 12.
Then, you know what happens next?
She goes to Winter Haven.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
And like on the way there, like Tony's explaining it to her, and he's like, oh, I had a girlfriend who died in a car accident in the mountains of Europe. Your mother reminded me of her. So like Tony has been like sniffing after the same puss forever. And like also that is a throwback to Lolita as well. Like Humbert. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he lost a love when he was really young and was always trying to like find her replacement.
I feel like that's a bit tacked on.
Yeah, well, I'm just like, there's another parallel with
okay.
Lolita, that's all. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And shit mom can't even like be bothered to get the fuck out of bed to even see Heaven off, let alone go with her to her first day at this school. Shit, Leigh. It's like you're Troy and Tony.
Yeah, can't.
Yeah.
Just can't.
Well, we keep hearing about how they're all identical anyways.
They are all identical. You can instantly know who someone is by how they look, by looking like someone else.
It's true. That is a trope. Yeah.
Yeah, I just completely, like, I feel like nothing of real note happens at Winter Haven.
Well, I like, her roommate Jennifer is pretty cool, but there's like a special club. And at first they're like, oh my god, you like, Tony Tatterton's your stepdad. I heard he was hot and like I have toys. And then she's like, he sends her a single rose to be like delivered at her lunch table, which is crazy. And they're like, why didn't he sign it daddy? And she's like, my dad's not dead, my parents got divorced.
Scandal.
And they're like, ugh, and they're like, I gotta go sit at another table. And then she just like busts in later and she's like, look, how fucking dare you judge me for the fact that my parents are divorced? Ain't my fault. We don't want to hang out with you anyways. And they're like, oh my god, cool, that's badass, stay. And then they're all friends.
Yep. and then you know what happens. It's doll time.
Oh wow, yeah.
Love an air horn noise.
Yep. After like she couldn't spend any time on the weekends with her friends. Her mom's like, ew, no, you can't have a sleepover. Maybe after months and months, one at a time, they can come. You promised to spend time with Tony.
To babysit Tony.
Ugh. So then Tony goes to Europe to see what the competition's doing, and he's like, Julian, you want to come? It'll be like a second honeymoon. She's like, oh my god, no.
Now you're annoying.
Yep. And
then it's doll time.
It's doll time. Yep.
That she needs to pose nude for.
Why? This is the fucking. Ugh. I hated this book so much. I was like,
that you had that same visceral reaction that I had to the previous.
Like my muscles were sore from just like a constant state of cringe. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, and looking for that. And Jillian's like shiftiness. She's like, it's all right? Like, in this, clearly it fucking isn't.
No.
But like, it's fine. I would never put you in a position like that.
Oh my god. It's horrible.
Yeah.
He has the cottage like made into a little impromptu studio.
Yeah, she has to pose nude so that he can get like all the lips right.
But he's also like creep asking her about like specifically, oh, you never pressed your tongue against a boy's and had him press his against yours. Like, he's asking her about making out and stuff, and she's like, why the fuck does it matter?
Yeah, he's like, I'm a man of much experience.
And it was just disgusting. Like, he was like, I'll start with your face. Then he's just like, then he like makes her unbutton her blouse like super slowly and take off her bra. It's fucking disgusting.
And then he's like, oh, I can't. I need to see with my hands. I need to paint you with big fat milkers. Which he does.
Yep. And shit mom's just off in Boston hanging out with her friends.
Yeah.
Like, And Lee's like, oh my god, like, I need to talk to her. I'm so fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah. After the first time that he honked her boobs.
Yep.
To experience her artistically.
Yep.
She's like, I know this wasn't right, and I'm very uncomfortable.
He had his eyes closed, like her body was a braille boob.
Braille boob.
And Shit Mom's just like, this is when I changed it from, I don't write Jillian anymore. I just write Shit Mom. Yeah, she's like, he's an artist. It's fine. Like, no, it fucking isn't.
She's like, why are you talking to me when I'm so tired from traveling? Like a 20-minute... If you're on, like, Cape Cod, you're pretty close to fucking Boston. I'm exhausted from traveling.
Always exhausted.
Always traveling. So then she's like her Cleve calls, and she's like, all right, my dad's not going to stand for this. I can't wait to tell him.
Yep.
But it's not private dad time.
No, Mildred Pierce.
Mildred Pierce.
And she, like, rage quits their breakfast that I find out later.
I think it was lunch.
No, because later it was like, I don't know, but like it was like London, because she talked about it being the morning, and I think like...
It was an early morning affair.
Yeah, but London broiled.
It was 1792. That's what they had for breakfast. Right. Mildred noted thin lips, bony fingers, not feminine.
So necessary, all of these details.
I know we're... want to note something that I wrote... oh, yeah. I was right. He totes gives the doll a badge.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
It's messed up. Like,
yep.
When he finally finishes the doll, like, after doing, like, cups and squeezes and stuff, he shows
Shimmy
her,
fingers.
like, the...
Painting.
The cat... No, like, the cast of the carve or whatever the fuck. And she's, like, horrified. She's like, this is basically pornographic. And then she's like, you cannot use my picture.
She's like, this is upsetting. And Tony gets fucking aggro when she's like, can you, like, smooth out those vulvas?
Yeah.
Smooth that shit out. And he's like, fine!
Which is, she's like, you can't, people are gonna... He's like, it's gonna be dressed in the window. And then she's like, but why does it need to be there, though? And he's just like, 'cause it's a piece of art! And she's like, nah. Ugh.
I want a non-genital doll, please.
It's fucking disgusting. She ends up getting a boyfriend, which is really cute, and then her mom is like, yeah, you can have a little party. So she has a party at the house that Jillian's like, oh my god, this is such a fucking extravagant affair.
Do you know what she gets for her birthday, Lee? The portrait doll.
That's right, from Tony.
And she's like, this hair is beautiful. And he's like, it's your hair.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Don't you remember when you went to get your haircut months ago, and I swept in and stole the hair and made it a wig for this doll? And she was like, cool.
She was like, oh my god, that's so special. Also, I'm just like wondering, like, did she have hair to her knees and then like...
yeah, that's a lot of hair. Like, the trimming off.
A doll's hair. I mean, that is inches. Because you gotta... He's like, I had him save every strand of your hair. That was fucking creepy. Because you know he kept some. You fucking know he kept some.
Sprinkled it on his balls.
So she's like psyched that she can have a party. And they are watching some undisclosed movie in the house's theater.
Yeah, at the house theater.
What the heck was her boyfriend's name?
James?
I don't remember. But she's like, hey,
let's go to the cottage.
Let's go to the maze. I'll show you the cottage. And so they get in there, and she's like, this is fucking weird. It's still set up as a studio. Why? And she sees, like, a new painting where it's, like, 1,000%, like...
More graphic.
And it's, like, her and her mom, like...
It's her face, but, like, a woman's body. It is noted
it's really messed up. And she's just like, and just, like, throws the sheet over it. And she's like, let's sit on this couch. And he's just like, I really want to, like, honk your boob. And she's like, okay.
They have innocent smoochers.
Yep. Pretty innocent smoochers. And Tony comes busting in.
Yeah. He kind of rages out a little bit, and then later says that she shouldn't lead boys on with her sexy powers. So yeah, these portrait dolls were a huge hit, although never mentioned again canonically. Like, no one ever says, hey, remember about 10, 15 years ago when all those portrait dolls were all the rage?
It's true.
If they're as popular as we were led to believe. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. It was a fad. It was huge. Everyone had a portrait doll if you were rich.
That Christmas. So, right after, around the holidays, like, Jillian just, like, pisses off for some spa in, like, Norway.
Yes, she needs to lose 4 pounds.
4 pounds. She can't, oh my god. I'm gonna stay as long as it takes.
I think I just ate 4 pounds of cheese.
Oh, yeah. I happily just ate 18 pounds of cheese.
So I don't know. She names the doll Angel, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason she goes out to the maze and out to the cottage for some fucking reason.
She's kind of like wondering, like, she can't get out of her head, like, why is it still set up like a studio? What is going on?
Okay.
So she, like, creeps over there to look, and, like...
The lights are on, the shades are drawn, and she's like, I gotta fucking see what's going on.
And, of course, she, like, gets a perfect view, because everyone always has a perfect view of something. Ugh. The painting now has...
That's right, like, Tony from behind.
He, like, painted himself into...
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I meant. In this painting, Tony's, like, taking this person from behind. I don't know if it got that. That's obviously my interpretation. There maybe have been, like, a loving cup of a titty. And then she's like, what the fuck? And then, like, he walks in and he's fucking just naked.
She's nude, and she's like, ah! And then
she drops and scuttles off.
And she's pretty sure that he, like, looked towards the window, and she's like, ah! And she goes in her room, and then she's like, I gotta go to sleep.
No, yes, that's true. Yes, okay. So Tony obviously fucking creeps the fuck in and does
in the night
so many rapings.
And he's like, I need to show you about, like, I need to complete this artistry that we started.
I have created you. Oh. Like, as a sexual being, but only sexy for Tony.
And yeah, that was really fucking bad. And then he was like, and now you're 100% mine. I've also made you a woman. Like,
so she won't stand for this, and she doesn't know what to do. And the next morning, she's like, all right, I'm just going to go to breakfast, I guess. And she's like, how dare you last night? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So he basically pretends it didn't happen. Ugh. So then the next night, she was like, she's waiting and waiting for Jillian to get home. She doesn't know what to do. She kind of avoids Tony all day, and he doesn't come home for quite a bit. And the only room in the house with a lock on it, I guess, is Jillian's because of the clamps on the head.
Yeah.
Because she's pulling her skin back every day. So she goes into Jillian's room, and she needs to feel close to her mom, and puts on Mom's nightgown and perfume.
It's so sad.
And then Troy is like, Tony has a key for this room, and just rapes her again.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I know what you're doing in here with your mom's clothes and perfume. And this poor thing is just like, fucking... and then Jillian comes home.
So, but Tony is like, yeah, she won't let me sex, so that's why I have you. Some fucking shit.
I don't know.
So she's back from Europe after the overhaul she needed to lose 4 pounds. And she's like, I need to talk to you. And she's like, Tony told me everything about how you dressed up like me and you seduced him.
And, like, in the cabin, you kept asking him to, like, do this stuff. And, like, if anything happened, it's because he's just a man. I will not believe this. Like, I had such a hard time reading this. Like, I hated this book so much.
Oh.
I hated it. Just because of how, it's like it was like reading the worst episode of Law & Order SVU. We're like, no one believes her.
She tries to get Cleve. She's like, I really need to talk to you alone. And he's like, all right, I mean, Mildred's coming. And she's like, this is really personal. And he's like, Mildred is part of my person.
And she's like, okay, fucking fine. And then, nope, he had to go into the Pacific Ocean and get a thing. And she's like...
So there's more Jillian times. Because she was like, why are you so emotional? Are you eating too much sugar? Because you definitely got too emotional about your many rapings.
Which I don't believe
happened. It's Screamo time. Yeah, that's right. It's Screamo time because she found out she's pregnant.
Yep.
Screamo time. So she pieces out.
And Jillian's like, oh, you fool, how dare you do this to me? It's going to be so embarrassing, and this is your fault. And then she's like, when did you decide that you were going to, like, whore me out to your husband? Was it, like, as soon as you met him, or, like, as soon as you found out that, like, he was a young man who wanted to do sex? Like, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Screamo time.
And Jillian's just like, oh, I can't handle this. I won't hear unpleasantness. Ugh.
I'm getting ready for a party.
Yeah, there's a charity dinner here, so...
So she won't be noticed for a bit while the charity event's happening. She steals a couple $100 from Tony's office to go see Grandma Jana.
Yep. Which I think was a good plan.
That's a solid plan for a child who was just raped multiple times.
Yep, and is pregnant and whose mom doesn't believe her.
And doesn't really know.
I think Jana definitely could have helped her out.
Yeah,
I don't think she would have not believed her. I think she would have been like, oh, that's fucking Jillian all over.
I enjoy how she, for some reason, she was just like, all right, I had to pretend like this was told. She was like, Miles, why aren't you helping? Like, did you remember you're taking me to the train station? And he's like, shouldn't I ask Jillian? And she's like, Jillian's going to be pissed if you go in there, but you forgot? And he's like, no, I didn't forget. It's great.
She's like, oh, she probably forgot to tell you two. You know who she is. And he's like, yeah, fair enough.
So she has like 1,000-hour train ride. It was more expensive than she thought to run away. And she has to, it says multiple times, your next connection is hours away. You're in Atlanta.
Yep.
She meets Luke, who is noted too handsome to be a con man.
I know, I thought that was a really interesting
Girl.
That's not...
That's
like,
the opposite.
Like, anyone who reads that, please, that's not part of a con man. If they're good looking, they're probably extra conny.
Where did Luke take her?
To the circus, which he worked at, which never fucking happened before. It was only noted that he wanted to work for the circus, and one time he snuck out and went to see it. He never had a fucking job there. But apparently he's just been working with the circus because he wants to be a backer. And he's taking her all around. He gets in his truck and he's like, let's go, kiddo.
They fucking went Lady and the Tramp on a foot-long hot dog.
I love that. I loved that so much.
I was like, no, they like ripped it in half. They like cut it. Nope. And their noses gently bump.
I love that. Nothing that romantic has ever happened.
A foot-long fucking home-wrecking dog with all the toppings.
Yeah.
Just fucking deep-throated on each end. So then, I think she at some point unloads her... She misses her connecting train. Because they're having such a good time.
She does, yeah, she's like, oh shit, and like the truck won't start.
That's
and like
it.
Once they get...
Luke's always like having a couple beers, beer dogs.
Yep, a couple of beer dogs.
For a 17-year-old.
And... Yeah, like, they get there as the train's pulling out, and she's like, oh, shit. And he's like, it's fine, it's tomorrow. And that's when she kind of loses it, and she's like, bleh, this is what happened. He was like, holy shit.
He's like, let's get a room. And she was like, you don't have to. Like, so this is very kind Luke. Mm-hmm. This is the Luke that we never saw. Mm-mm. Whether or not he really existed or was just part of the story, we don't know. So they get a motel room, an innocent motel room, and he's like, all right, I'm going to go back to the circus, like, because I'm not doing anything shady. And she was like, you can stay. She's
like, there's 2 beds. Like, it's fine. And he was like, you sure? And she's like, you paid for the room. There's 2 beds. Like, you shouldn't have to sleep on a straw mattress tonight.
She has dusty travel hair.
She's a nightmare.
And then he's like, let's get married. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, she has a nightmare, and like he wakes up and like she hears him being like, oh my god, I love you. I want to just take care of you forever.
And she's like, eh. And he's like, what?
Yeah, he's just like, listen, I'll be the father to your baby. I feel amazing when I'm with you and like a better person.
She's like, well, I'm almost 14, so.
Yep, sounds good.
Babies marrying babies.
Yeah, apparently they just go to this Justice of the Peace House and it's like just
he's
full
like,
of circus people.
This sounds like a legally binding contract.
Yeah, sure, 2 young strangers with no identification.
This child can marry. All right. And then they're going back to Winnerow Willie's, and Luke names Heaven. Did you catch that?
Yeah. And Luke, once... Because Lee's still carrying around Angel, the doll, and she says, like, oh, her name's Angel. And he's like, oh my god, that's good. I'm going to call you that. And... Yeah, something about call heaven.
This is the point. Like, I mean, like, this book is just homework, man.
Yeah, it's hard to read.
I've been disinterested since Heaven hasn't been has been not a narrator. So I'm just, I've petered. My interest has petered out. It's like, all right, they go back to Winnerow. It's what we already know, that she was refined, but she was willing to help him. Yeah. It's just building up Luke to be a good man. Which I'm going to say I don't really believe.
I don't believe it at all.
Thank you. Also, okay.
Because they talk about how he only has eyes for her and there's a hoedown. Like, they talk about Sarah, his next wife being
she's a pretty girl with a slim figure. I thought she was raw-boned.
But also, she should have been pregnant at that time, too. Because Leigh was 6 months pregnant.
Well,
so
I think
Sarah... No, because...
Should have been a little bit away.
Tom?
Yeah,
Tom was 4 months younger. So if, like... Heaven was...
Yeah, she probably wouldn't have been showing.
Like, no, not showing, but she was pregnant at that time. But they keep talking about how, like, Luke won't even have sex with...
her.
With Leigh, because he's like, no...
I don't want to knock the baby around.
Well, he was just like, we should have our own proper house, and, like, the first time we do this, like, shouldn't be with, like, all these ears listening, and, like, I really love you and I care about you. But
men's got physical cravings.
But apparently he went and fucked Sarah.
There's lots of talk of rainwater shampoo.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I don't know either.
Is it just rainwater?
Is it just rainwater?
So rainwater and, like, lye.
Yep, that doesn't sound like it's going to make your hair shiny.
No.
The angel doll being anthropomorphic creeps me out. It's always, I don't like it. It's like, Angel looked on with sad eyes. Angel looked approvingly on, and she had a good Christmas too. I don't like it!
Yeah, it was weird.
So, as we all know, Leigh dies. The last entry in the diary is like, Luke and I were standing on the mountain and looking at the stars, and it was almost time to have my baby.
Yeah.
And then tucked in the diary is a letter, a convenient PI, who was like, Mr. Tatterton, your stepdaughter instantly died.
I have a problem with that, too.
Yeah, you do.
Do you know why I have a problem with that?
Continuity?
Yeah. Because if he knew, like, shortly after that Leigh died giving childbirth, then he wouldn't have needed Heaven to be like, oh, I lied about my age this year. Like, because that was the big revelation of, like, oh, shit, you're my kid.
Yeah.
But...
Wait, did it say she died in childbirth?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Either way, but I mean,
that's
he still would have known that she died a year before.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big oopsie poopsie.
Yeah. I don't know. And I just feel bullshit. Because if we're supposed to believe that Luke loved Leigh so much, I absolutely do not think that he would have, like, shunned Heaven the way that he did. Like, 1,000%.
So basically, one's not worth your time. Or is it?
I really didn't like it. It was super uncomfortable. I hated all the gaslighting. Like, it was just like... Plus, I was sick at this point of, like, so many books in a row of Tony Tatterton just, like, fucking deciding he's gonna, like...
and, like, groping.
Yeah, like, lips brushing and, like, tips and...
Whisper tips.
And, like, just forcing people to, like, whether it be, like, oh, dye your hair this color, or, like, take off your, like... I'm just so skeeved out by Tony Tatterton at this point. Like, I didn't need more. And reading about Jillian sucked. Like, I was just miserable reading this book because... Well, first of all, you know, you think that most of it's going to be about how, like, things happened, she escaped, and then Willie's leading up to her, the birth of Heaven. No. Again, it's like the last 20 pages is the shit with Luke. And then it's just, like, abuse and gaslighting. And...
Yeah,
I don't feel...
that.
Great about that.
Well,
yeah,
at least we're done.
Warning. Yeah.
We're done with them. I hope that nothing that we read next has anything like a breathy whisper kiss or a finger.
It does.
Spoiler alert, it do.
Just so you know, after this
family,
we've finished Castiles, and next we'll be moving on to...
The Cutlers?
The Cutler family.
The Cutler family. So hit up your Goodwill, your local library, bookshop.org, thriftbooks.org.
Thriftbooks.com.
Thriftbooks. Bookshop. And get your books for the Cutlers and cut it up. Okay.
Wackadoos.
Thanks for listening to VC's Pieces podcast. We hope you enjoyed it.
Technical support was provided by Boo and Matt. Thanks for answering all of my stupid questions.
Music is Dust on My Attic by Broke MC, used under Creative Commons license.
Email us at vcspiecespodcast@gmail.com with your thoughts or comments.
Hey, you can also follow us on Instagram. We are at VC's Pieces Podcast.
New episodes are released every other Friday to give you time to read along. In the meantime, sell your family, touch your Tatterton toy, and try to scrub off the filth of being hill scum.